always nothing to that stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another.
Okay. Ready? Cool? Cool. Oh, do me a huge favor. I don't have any TAs yet. Could one person from each end of the table, so one person here, one person there, here, there, here, there. See those muscle man people things? Grab one. Bring it to your table. It'll be helpful as we look along. There should be more than those in there. Why are there more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 56. This side of the table, you can get the really nice one. Yes. Grab that one that has arm out. This one. So I encourage you to look at these models as I'm pointing things out. If you're unsure where it is on these models, come just ask me, raise your hand. But I also ask that you, while you're looking at those, you're also paying attention to me up here. It's really getting hard to speak over you. Okay, talking about appendicular muscles, we left off the legs. We just finished the gluteal muscles. It's a reminder of what gluteal muscles do. Gluteal muscles, there's 4 of them. The Tensor Fasciae Latae, which is more anterior. It's lateral and slightly anterior. Tensor Fasciae Latae, that's for extending the knee, lateral rotation. Gluteus Maximus is in the back. Large one in the back here. You can see in this too. It is attached to the iliac crest, but the gluteus medius goes all the way around the iliac crest on the posterior side. And gluteus minimus, you have to cut both away to see it clearly. Here's gluteus minimus. Gluteus maximus and tensor fasciae latae. I'm going to abbreviate them when you're Tensor fasciae latae and gluteus maximus, they're for lateral rotation, among other things, also extension. While gluteus medius and minimus, they're for medial rotation and abduction. So these two are for lateral rotation, gluteus medius, minimus are for medial rotation, so there was a makeup. How would you compare that? What's their relationship? Term for muscles that do opposite things. And antagonists. They are antagonists. You want to work out these muscles, there's a bunch of things you can do. This is a leg extension. Remember that when you want to extend your hip, it's bringing your heel backwards. So you're working your gluteus maximus here. By abducting, you're working the other 3, minimus, medius, and tensor fasciae latae. And if you got crazy good abs, you can do something like this and also work your tensor fasciae latae. So the gluteal muscles are for abduction. Medius and minimus are for abduction, for going away. To bring it in, you need muscles on your inner thigh. These are your adductors. 3 of them have adductor in the name, just like how there were 3 of these had gluteal in the name. 1 didn't. 1 doesn't also over here. Okay, I'm going to draw the left side, or sorry, the right side. All right, so here is the right femur. Here's the right femur. Here's the right femur. Your adductor muscles are on the medial part, attached to the medial part of your femur. The first one that I'll go over here is Adductor Longus. It's a long muscle that adducts. What makes it, what's the word? It's pretty anterior. So I'm going to show you. On our models here, it's this one. This one. Show everyone else in your group. Adductor Longus. It's longest because it's attached. Yeah, because it has a longer. It's longer relative to brevis. Brevis means short, like brief, or brevity. It's shorter because it attaches from the pubis to a more proximal part of the femur, so it's a bit shorter. Question? Oh. Brevis on your models is harder to see, so don't worry about pointing out brevis. I just want you to know it exists. Yeah, longus and brevis. Longus, they both attach from the pubis to a distal part of the femur, so that's why it's longer, while brevis is more proximal. That's why it's shorter. Longus, brevis. Brevis is a bit like in between, so it's harder to see, which is why I can't really point out to you on these models. Magnus, adductor magnus, it's the most posterior. So if we're looking from an anterior view, it's kind of hidden, but it's peeking out because it's so big, as the name implies. Magnus means big. So you can see a bit of magnus over here. The posterior side is this big one here. Yeah. Yes. So that's adductor magnus. So there are three muscles that have an adductor in the name. Longus, brevis, and magnus is more posterior, so it's hiding behind these. Brevis is kind of tucked in, it's short, you can't see it very well. And obviously they're all for adduction. You can also medially rotate with longus, but they're all for adduction. The last one of these four, it's called gracilis. Think of something graceful, like very thin and long, like this. A dance muscle or something. Gracilis is the most medial of all of these. Look for the thin, long one that goes straight on the medial thigh. Thin, long muscle that goes straight down on the medial thigh. Thin, long muscle straight on the medial thigh. What other things? Straight. Yeah. Okay. Oh, just a reminder, when you point to your models, use your eraser side. Don't use your pointy pencil side. Use your eraser.
You see on the anterior?
It's a medial, so you can see from both. It's medial. This long one. So gracilis is the most medial of the four. It's just that straight, thin one. Gracilis can also be used for flexion, for medial rotation. Yeah. How do you work your adductors? You can do side lunges, you can do wide squats, things like that. Questions on the adductors?
So is
Gracilis?
is that like superficial and then gets deep?
Yeah. Is gracilis superficial? Gracilis is the most superficial and the most medial. Yes. Gracilis is the most superficial, the most medial of this group. Longus is peeking out. Longus is peeking out on the anterior side. Magnus is peeking out on the posterior side. Yes. Longus anterior, Magnus posterior. I have no mnemonics for this. If someone can come up with something, let me know. We've gone over these muscles already, the iliacus and psoas major. They move the vertebral column, but they also move the legs, which makes sense because they're attached to the legs. Psoas major from the lumbar vertebrae down to the femur. There's that lesser trochanter. And then iliacus is sitting inside of that iliac fossa. Iliacus, psoas major, that's your iliacus psoas. They help you flex your hip. So if you want to bring your legs up, do a leg lift, that, you're working a lot of muscles, but including the iliacus psoas. Iliacus psoas. Take a moment, please.
Yeah, it's not neat when you're bringing your feet.
Raise your hand a few more time. More seconds. All right. Let's see your answers on 3. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. Yeah, this is the only, when you're standing at attention, you're moving the legs side by side, you're adducting, the only adductor muscle is superior gracilis. Okay. More muscles of the thigh, the femoral region. Once again, let's say here's the ilium and pubis, femur. Okay. Look at the anterior view of the right femur. Anterior view of the right femur. There are 4 muscles on the anterior femur, femoral region. You may know this name, heard this name before. They're the quadriceps muscles. Quadriceps because there are 4 of them, 4 heads. The 4 head muscles of the femoral region, quadriceps femoris. So collectively, they're known as the quadriceps femoris. There are 3 of them have the name vastus. 1 of them doesn't. Let's go to those 3 first. So there's one in the middle here. There's one more medial, and then there's one more lateral. So they're named after the directions. Vastus Lateralis, Vastus Intermedius, Vastus Medialis. Order. That's straightforward. You can see your medius and lateralis pretty well if you just lock your knee, flex your quads. You feel the bulge on the medial side. That's your medialis. Over here, that's your lateralis. What's covering the lateralis? There's something covering, not the whole lateralis, but there's a special tendon that goes across it. Anyone know? The iliotibial tract, yes. Iliotibial tract covers vastus lateralis. Vastus means big, and just remember, these are big muscles. They're very big muscles of the leg. We can see vastus lateralis from the anterior side because it's so big and lateral. We can also see it from the back. So I'll draw that out when we look at the hamstrings. All right. So those are three of the four. Where's the fourth one? The fourth one is on top of intermedius. So intermedius is deep. The rectus femoris. Rectus femoris is on top of intermedius. It's superficial to it. So for those of you with the ones that are just leg models, you can pull off the rectus femoris. And I know it's just white under there, that's just the fascia, but that's where vastus intermedius would be. So rectus femoris is most superficial. Then you've got vastus lateralis, intermedius, medialis. What they all do, they all extend your knee. They all extend your patellofemoral, tibio-femoral joint. You can also use it to flex your hip. So to bring your leg up this way, it's using your quadriceps. What's this tendon called? It goes from your quadriceps to your patella? Quadriceps tendon. This is your quadriceps tendon. From the patella to your tibia, that's the patellar ligament. So remember that. So squats, presses with your legs, that's using your quadriceps. Again, you can also, to flex at your hip, flex at the femoris hybrid joint, that's also using your quadriceps a bit. It's using your abs, of course, but quadriceps too. On the back side, so this is an anterior view. Let's look at a posterior view of the leg. So here's a posterior view of the right leg. So this is anterior to the right, here's posterior to the right. We can see vastus lateralis right here. It's peeking out because it's so lateral and big. And you can see the iliotibial tract as well. This is right there on the outside. So iliotibial tract, vastus lateralis. But the major muscles of the posterior thigh region, the femoral region, are the hamstrings. Ham means bend. String is because you can feel the tendons on the back of your knee. Hamstrings, that's why it's called that. There are three muscles. The bigger one, the major one, is the biceps femoris. Biceps femoris of the three is the most lateral. Biceps because it has two heads. So when you say biceps, you need to be more specific. Are you talking about biceps brachii or are you talking about biceps femoris? Because they have the same name. So biceps femoris is most lateral of the three. The other two are right on top of each other. And they're named after what they appear like. So they're not actually membranes or tendons. I mean, they have tendons, but they're named after their appearance. Semimembranosus is wide and flat. Semimembranosus is wide and flat. And membranosus is peaking more medially. It's membrane-like. Semitendinosus is long and thin. Semitendinosus is long and thin. It's tendon-like. Tendinosus is sitting on top of membranosus. So on your models, they show them often fused together. So biceps femoris, tendinosus, membranosus. Biceps femoris, tendinosus, membranosus. Yeah. Yes. The people that have the basis one, on the left side, you can see that tendinosus has been cut, and you can see membranosus underneath. Biceps femoris. So what do you use your hamstring group for? Use them to flex the knee. So to kick your heel up to your butt, that motion. Your biceps femoris can also be used to extend your hip. So here's that curl that I'm talking about. That's using your hamstrings. Also, this thrusting motion can also use your hamstrings. Bringing your hips forward. Questions on the hamstrings? One muscle that's on the femoral region that doesn't quite fit into any of these categories is the special. It's used to cross your legs. Think of it as like your inseam. It's kind of like gracilis, but different. Gracilis was only thin and medial. Sartorius is thin and long, but it starts on the anterior superior iliac spine. It starts in front, it goes down distally, and then crosses medially to your tibia. It's really long and thin. It's the longest muscle. From the anterior superior iliac spine, it goes distally, medially, down to the tibia. Sartorius, the long, thin muscle that curves on your thigh. You should let me know if you have issues finding it, but I think it's pretty easy to find. Very long, thin muscle. So the sartorius, that's used for flexing your knee. It also helps you abduct, helps you laterally rotate. You can do a lot of this because it's such a long muscle and on the medial thigh and anterior thigh. Connected to the anterior superior iliac spine, it's down. We will see this on the cadaver. Cool. Bicycles, that's one good way to work your sartorius. All right, take a moment. They punch you. They punch or kick you.
Oh yeah. It can't be deep.
Reach your hand a few more times. Okay. Hands on 3. 1, 2, 3. Find someone with a different answer. Find someone with a different answer. Turn to another table if you need to.
Well, don't you think?
All right, one more time. See your hands. 1, 2, 3. All right, on 3, say the letter. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. If you want to extend your knee, foot comes out that way. Extending that would be a quadriceps muscle. The only quadriceps muscle is your vastus lateralis. I'm going to come up like this. You start here, end here. At the deadlift. Raise your hand a few more times. 4 seconds. Okay, so your hands. 1, 2, 3. Hands up. On 3, say the letter. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is a hamstring exercise. When you do a deadlift, you're using a lot of your hamstrings. Questions? Hamstrings extenders. Basically, this exercise at the top left, a deadlift is that of standing up. You're using mostly your hamstrings. D. Yes. Okay. Good. more muscles. 5 more muscles. 5 more. Looking at the lower leg, the crural region, anterior lower leg. You see your tibia here. You feel it on yourself. Here's the sharp part of your tibia, the anterior border. Just go lateral to it, and it gets squishy because there's a muscle there. And if you just dorsiflex, plantarflex, you can feel it contract. If you've ever had shin splints, that's where you feel a lot of pain. This is your tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior for dorsiflexion and inversion, so bringing your foot in. Hopefully you've noticed that a lot of these muscles come in 3s or 4s. You've got your tibialis anterior right here. Next one over. In the middle, if you trace it down, you can see its tendons go to the phalanges 2 through 5. This is the extensor digitorum longus. This is your extensor digitorum on your posterior forearm, your antebrachial region, extending your fingers. This is the long version because it has a long tendon that moves your toes, extends your toes. Extensor digitorum longus. You have to say the longus, otherwise you're talking about your arm. Then you go lateral. So this one's a bit more lateral than it is anterior, but fibularis longus, it's a long muscle along the fibular side, the lateral side. You might see called peroneus. I think fibularis makes more sense intuitively. Notice that it does something different than the tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior is dorsiflexion inversion. Fibularis longus, plantar flexion and eversion, so you're going outwards. What are they called? Relationship between the two? Exactly. When you work those out, you can use like a band, strengthen those muscles so that you have strong ankles, or for your extensor digitorum, you just kind of move your toes. Just a reminder, there's a bunch of muscles in the legs that we did not cover. We didn't cover it after this. There are more muscles in this area. On the posterior side, the sural region. The sural region, these are your calf muscles. And you might know that to use your calf muscles, you plant your flats. On your tippy toes. Do a calf raise. 2 major muscles back here. Gastrocnemius, this is one you typically think of when you think of calf muscles, because when you plantar flex, you can feel the bulge. The bulgy part closer to your knee. It's called the gastrocnemius. Gastro, that means belly, stomach related. Think of this as like 2 little bellies. Gastrocnemius. If you remove the gastrocnemius, you can better see the soleus. So here's the gastrocnemius removed. The soleus goes up all the way and down nearly all the way to your heel. So it's wide and flat. The soleus is a wide, flat muscle deep to the gastrocnemius. On your models, like on this one, it's been cut so that you can see the soleus better. Soleus. So this would be the gastrocnemius and the soleus is this. I'm sorry, soleus. Gastrocnemius. See the soleus. You can feel your soleus if you feel it, the lower part of your the toes of your ankle. this muscle right here. Gastrocnemius is the bulk you want to push to your knee. Soleus is a little lower down. You can feel at least that part of it. Gastrocnemius, soleus.
If you pointed out, like my teachers, you had to know from here all the way down. Anterior and posterior. Yeah. Like that was and like oh my.
Oh, last thing about this. So the gastrocnemius and soleus, they converge to a single tendon, kind of like the Gluteus Minimus and Tensor Fasciae Latae. They converge to a single tendon. That's your, what you know is your Achilles tendon, but I want you to know the technical name. It's connecting to the calcaneus, so it's your calcaneal tendon. This is your calcaneus. We've gone over 3 tendons. Quadriceps tendon, tensor fascia, or tibial tract, and now calcaneal. Those are the 3 tendons you should know. I don't know if this summary helps you, but here's my summary of the leg. It's a bit more complicated than the arm. With the arms, it's the anterior, it's the flexor, it's posterior, it's the extensor. In the leg, it's a bit more complicated. In the gluteal region, you've got extensors and abductors. In the femoral region, you've got extensors, adductors, and flexors. In the lower leg, you've got dorsiflexors and plantarflexors. Yes.
Are you going to show us transverse cuts?
Will I show you transverse cuts? No, I won't do it.
I hate the training.
As far as the practical goes, what you'll be tested on are these models and the cadaver. So we'll get practice with the cadaver today and next. Oh, probably next week. Is there overlap tomorrow? I'll be here 9 to 11. I'll be here 9 to 11. I have to cut off at 11 because I have a meeting. So. Right, so yeah, those are your appendicular muscles. You can move your arm, move your legs, cool things with them. Great. Take a moment. I was told that this is the wrong way to show your toes if you want to show off your pedicure, but just go with what it says.
You're extending this. I don't know. I hate this person because I try to be real my own body.
We hear it a few more times. Counts on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want to.
Okay. For each letter, 1, 2, 3. B. You're specific to your toes, you're extending them as the name implies. Extensor digit longus. There's longus would be the let's say plantar flex.
Okay.
So that'd probably be a better way to show off your toes, honestly. But
Cause I was trying to do it.
should I change it? Should it be like?
Yeah.
I should see. So you point your toes.
Yeah.
So then the answer should be
C.
C. Well, yeah, it would be A. I guess it'd be A or C. That's why I asked it that way. I'll figure it out. I would have to change the answer so only one would be correct. This is the fun of being a teacher. Yeah. Yeah, what are muscles named after? It just depends. Remember, like it could be named after the shape, it could be named after location, it could be named after the action or a mix. Or, yeah. Whenever you see longus, that means long pendant. I don't even know. Can someone look at the etymology of soleus? I don't even know that off the top of my head. Gastro, it's belly, it's got two bellies. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here's what we're gonna do. In the next, at 10:10, I want to start going outside. At 10:10, 10:15, 10:10. So if you want to take a break now, now's the time. I'm going to go to the back, and you're welcome to come and help me. I could use help. What's the word? Yeah, we're going to look at cadavers. But I encourage you, I'm not going to call you just because it's going to be hard for me to coordinate all that. Just come back to the back to look at the muscles. If you're not in the back there, you're either taking a break or reviewing the muscles out here or cleaning up your packets. You should be ready with your packets. You should know, you should be able to write off your shape, name of your muscle, shape, attachments, action, and location. You should know those four things and be able to say them really quickly. Okay? All right. I'm going to go set up the cadaver and let you know when we're done with that.
Can you set up like one
Yes.
for this, you said complete sentences, and I like wrote them for A and then for the
Yes.
other. No, you're not.
So I'm just ready to answer for you. So maybe go through yourself, go through the muscles yourself, and go off the rest.
Because on the salt. Yeah. Yeah. See, I labeled it. But I think I labeled it.
What are we doing?
The histology part. I hate that part. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to.
Remember, if you need a lab coat, there's a bunch over here in the corner. Gloves are hiding in the lab room. The lab rooms.
I know.
Anyone from Mary's class? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it much.
Maria.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean we all walk through at the same time?
You want to look at the number, which will be on the practical, the next one. We'll get another chance later, but always.
Eu nem recibo para
Are you streaming live? Are you still streaming? Huh? I don't know why the hell they water down the stove. Like,
Some people used to use it.
I don't know about that.
I know. Coronavirus. Cancel all my flights. I was supposed to go to India, but now they have a travel ban, so you can't go. So my cousin's wedding is canceled. Did you at least get your money back? Yeah, it was like before tickets was like $5,200. Hell yeah. And now the same tickets are $620. What the heck? No way, I was looking for tickets and they're $620. They're like for 2 weeks. I know, because I was thinking like, please book it till June. Like, probably long gone. I don't know. Same.
Leave it early.
Wait, let me give you that money.
Feels like a bad trip.
So he wrote something on and at first I didn't know what it meant. I was like, it's me, it's a long thing. He's actually here, this is my heart.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, shit.
That's a lot. That was like, there's more people like so you're check that one. Yeah. Down the street from us, let's do one here. that one sort of like back. Yeah.
Tables, you can place them in the back. I would appreciate that. Place the models in the back. No, unfortunately, yeah, we can't come back in here. So I suggest you bring like something like a folder. Why would you say that? It's not about location necessarily, it's about action. So, well, what action?
You said you want a Mustang?
Yeah, think about it that way. Think about what action. Okay, does everyone's got their stuff? Please bring your stuff outside. Sorry, no clipboards, it's not coming back here. But Erica, can you leave people outside? Thank you. Towards the planetarium. Hey, sorry. Yes. For let's go elevation. Breathing is elevation. Right. Elevation is right. I have to check your grades. I'll get to that. Thanks.
Taking my time.